After the break, they went back in towards where the genealogical hall of records is, passing again the staircase with the three-headed House of Targaryen seagull at the base of the staircase. As they go back into the House of Targaryen library, William takes the seat, and she then asks William, "Are you ready to continue?" "Yes, Daenerys. I'm ready to continue where we left off, where we just found out about the Greens faction forming." She takes her seat then. She then looks at William kind of in a serious manner because this is something for him to learn. "Then you know where you need to start." "Yes, it'll be the forming of the Black faction, I believe, is next." "That is correct. You are doing good following along, William." So with that, William then continues his studies. At this point, it would seem that now something is starting to stir within the House of Targaryen. And this is, of course, noticed at first by Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen, the daughter of Viserys I Targaryen. Now, this means she's going to have to defend her title, and that which Viserys I had proclaimed, because it seems like the others are not very happy with his decision. And if she's going to ever be heir to the throne one day, then she has to defend her title. And this could be the prelude to civil war, the Dragon Wars, or as best known as Dance of the Dragons. So, in turn, she then rallies supporters who also see the same thing that's happening at Dragonstone. And so they make their faction in King's Landing, and thus becomes the faction that is known as the Blacks. With the Black faction being formed, there's also some dragons that are involved. Syrax was a she-dragon. She was ridden solely by Rhaenyra Targaryen. Her name came from a goddess of Valeria. Here's some information about Syrax. Syrax had yellow scales. She was huge and formidable, but not as fearsome and experienced in battle as Carrax. She was kept in chains and exceedingly well fed. She had not hunted for years at the time of the Civil War. Caraxes was a dragon ridden by Prince Daemon Targaryen. In description, Caraxes was red, huge, and lean. In battle, he was formidable, fearsome, and experienced. During the Dance of the Dragons, Caraxes was about half the size of the huge Vhagar. Meanwhile, Vhagar was 3 times the size of younger dragons such as Tessarion or Sea Smoke. Vermax. Vermax was a male dragon ridden by Prince Jaehaerys Valerian. In description, Vermax was thriving and growing larger every year. Arax was a dragon ridden by Prince Viserys Valerian during the Dance of the Dragons. In description, he was mature enough to be ridden and still young and growing. He was 5 times smaller than Vhagar. Tyraxus was the dragon bound to Prince Joffrey Valerian during the Dance of the Dragons. In appearance, Tyraxus was still young during the Dance of the Dragons, slightly smaller than Vermax or Arax. It was only recently able to fly long distances with a rider, and not quite big enough for combat yet. Joffrey repeatedly begged his mother to ride to war on Tyraxus, but she forbade it, though he did fly on Tyraxus from Dragonstone to the Vale, also carrying his cousin Rhaenyra of Pentos. Stormcloud was a young male dragon bonded with King Aegon III Targaryen. Meleys, called the Red Queen, was an old she-dragon ridden by Princess Rhaenys Targaryen. In description, her scales were scarlet and the membranes of her wings were pink. Her crest, horns, and claws were bright as copper. She had grown lazy, but was fearsome when roused. Meleys was old, cunning, and no stranger to battle. Because dragons never stop growing as they age, Meleys was apparently one of the eldest and largest dragons during the Dance of the Dragons. Vhagar, last of the original 3 Targaryen dragons, easily overpowered Arax, a juvenile dragon who had only recently grown large enough to carry a rider. Even Caraxes faced a tough fight against Vhagar. In contrast, it was believed that in a one-on-one fight, Vhagar would have a difficult time fighting Meleys. Moondancer. Moondancer was a young she-dragon. She had only one rider, Lady Baela Targaryen. In description, she was a slender pale green. Her horns, crest, and wing bones were pearl. At the beginning of the Dance of the Dragons, she was considered not quite large enough to bear the weight of Baela Targaryen. When she flew up with Baela to meet Aegon II Targaryen and Sunfire, she was no larger than a warhorse and weighed less. She was very quick. for the Black faction now formed, preparing to defend against the Greens, who are in opposition of Viserys I Targaryen's decision that Rhaenyra should be the heir to the Iron Throne of Swords for the Roman kingdoms. Here are the prominent Black members. For the royal Targaryen members, we have Queen Rhaenyra Targaryen, who rode Syrax. Prince Daemon Targaryen, who rode Caraxes. Prince Jaehaerys I Targaryen, who rode Vermax. Prince Viserys I Targaryen, who rode Arax. Prince Jaehaerys I Targaryen, who rode Tyraxes. Prince Aegon Targaryen, who rode Stormcloud. Prince Viserys Targaryen, who possessed one dragon egg. Princess Rhaenys Targaryen, who rode Melees. Lady Baela Targaryen, who rode Moondancer. Lady Rhaena Targaryen, who possessed one dragon egg, and then later 2 more. The Black Council made up the following members: Queen Rhaenyra Targaryen, Queen of the Andals, the Rhoynar, and the First Men, Lady of the Seven Kingdoms. Prince Daemon Targaryen, Protector of the Realm. Lord Cordis Valerian, Lord of the Tides, Master of Cursitor, and Hand of the Queen. Princess Rhaenys Targaryen. Prince Jaehaerys I Targaryen. Prince Viserys I Targaryen. Prince Joffrey Valerian. Lord Barnabas Selkiger, Lord of Claw Island. Lord Stomp of Rock's Rest. Lord Gorman Mason, Lord of Stonedance. Lord Bar Emmon of Sharppoint. Lord Darkland of Duskendale. And Grand Maester Gerardus, formerly Maester of Dragonstone. Those who made up Princess Rhaenyra's Queen's Guard were as follows: Sir Stephen Darkland, Lord Commander of the Queen's Guard, First Knight. Sir Laurent Marbrand, Lord Commander of the Queen's Guard, Second Knight. Sir Glendon Good, Lord Commander of the Queen's Guard, Third Knight. Sir Eric Cargill. Sir Lionel Bentley. Sir Harold Dark. Sir Adrian Redford. Sir Loris Lansdale. And of course we have one dependent to the Blacks, Sir Luther Larkin. Other notable Blacks came from various areas of the realm. From the Crownlands, we have Lord Saunders of Brooks Rest, Lord Gorman Macy, Lord of Stonedance. Unfortunately, in time, he will be killed by Vermithor. Lord Bar Emmon of Sharppoint. Lord Darkland of Duskendale. Lady Meredith Darkland of Askendale, Lord Stokeworth of Stokeworth, Lord Rosby of Rosby, House Crab of Crackmore Point, House Room of Brown Hall, House Room of the Dire Net, Sir Robert Quinn, Castellan of Dragonstone, Sir Adam Valerian, formerly Adam of Hull, bonded with Cecil, Sir Alan Valerian, formerly Alan of Hull, Silver Denny's. Unfortunately, he will be devoured by Cannonball Dragon after Sheepkiller ripped off his arm and a couple of his sons tried to give aid to their father. And Cannonball just happens to be happens upon them. Not only finishes off his father, but then eats the two sons as well. Unfortunately, it was not a good day for Silver Denny's to, at request, become a dragon rider. On the other hand, Nettles bonded with Sheepskeeper. Blood and cheese. And no, I'm not talking about somebody's blood or having a piece of cheese. Apparently, these were either house names or people's names. Sir Balin Birch, captain of the City Watch. Sir Garth the Harelip, captain of the City Watch. Then, for the men of the north, we have Lord Cragen Stark, Lord of Winterfell, and Warden of the North. Lord Roderick Dustin, known as Brody the Ruler, Lord of Barrowtown, leader of the Winter Wolves. Lord Manderley of Whitehunter, Sir Medric Manderley, Sir Torhen Manderley. Then we have Rivermen, which made up of Lord Kermit Tully, Lord of Riverwater, Sir Elmo Tully, Lord of Riverrun, Lord Wallace Luton, Lord of Maidenpool, Lord Derry of Derry, Lord Forrest Frey, Lord of the Crossing, Lord Benjicott Blackwood, Lord of Raventree, Lady Alicent Blackwood, Lord John Charlton, Lord Piper, Lord Dennings, Lord Perrin, Lord Chambers, Lord Bigglestone, Sir Jeroboam Gray, Sir Pate of Longleader, Lion Slayer, Red Prom River, the Bow of Raventree, Billy Burns. For the Men of the Reach, we have Lord Lyman Beastbury, Lord of Honeyhole, and Master of Coin. Lord Thaddeus Rowan, Lord of Golden Grove. Lord Alan Tarby, Lord of Hornhill. Lord Owen Costain, Lord of Green Towers. Lord Mullendor, Lord of Lord Grimm of Gratiot, Lord Footman of Tumbleton, Tom Flowers, also known as Bastard of Bitterbridge, Sir Alan Beesbury. For Valemen, we have Lady Jane Eyre, Maiden of the Vale, Sir Willem Royce, Lord Burrell of Sweet Sister, Lord Sunderland of the Three Sisters. And then we have foreigners, but they now, because they are not like any ordinary people from the kingdom, they are represented by a special band that's brought up for those who are foreigners. And I believe it's a black man called House of Karstark, the son of Winter. The House of Karstark usually remain neutral because I have not seen them in part of history. So they are kind of like ones who represent those who haven't been in wars either. Kind of usually are called the foreigners in theory. So they represent these foreigners because they do not have the shield of their own. And the foreigners are known as Black Trombone. So that is now the entire Black faction who shall face off the Green faction should there become a rivalry. And as said earlier, the seeds of civil war are pretty much have been sown. When Viserys I Targaryen should go to his rewards, the question shall be, who shall be the heir to the Iron Throne of Thorne for the realm of the kingdom? Stepstones. The Stepstones, a battle led by Prince Daemon Targaryen, uncle to Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen and brother to Viserys I Targaryen. The Stepstones are a chain of islands between the southern Narrow Sea and the northwestern Summer Sea. The islands are located east of Dorne in Westeros and west of the disputed lands in Essos. Just to the north is Tyrosh. The Stepstones are home to pirate dens, often listening and mermen. The islands are also often affected by storms. Two of the islands have been named Bloodstone and Grey Gallows. Tyrosh is sometimes considered the northernmost and easternmost of the Stepstones. In history, according to legend, the Stepstones are a remnant of a land bridge known as the Arm of Dorne, which once linked Westeros and Essos. More than 10,000 years ago, the first men used that land bridge to cross into what is now known as Dorne to begin their invasion of Westeros. The Green Seers of the Children of the Forest are said to have used magic to shatter the land bridge into an archipelago named the Stepstones, located between the Broken Arm and the disputed lands. The Freehold of Valyria established Tyrosh as a military outpost to control trade near the Stepstones. Slavers from the Stepstones captured the Wolf's Den at the mouth of the White Knife during the reign of King Edric Stark, and pirates from the Isles also sometimes attacked the eastern Riverlands and Vale of Arryn. There are pockets of Rhaenyra on the islands dating back to the migration of Nymeриa's 10,000 ships. Myr and Lys of the Free Cities have constantly engaged in wars over possession of the Stepstones. Pirates attacked Cape Wrath during Aegon's conquest. Several times in its history, the Seven Kingdoms has also fought for control of the island, including one conflict in the early 2nd century when Prince Daemon Targaryen and his dragon Caraxes led an army against the triarchy of Lys, Myr, and Tyrosh, and later their ally, Dorne. Daemon briefly called himself the King of the Stepstones and the Narrow Sea. Ricalio Rendune held a pirate kingdom in the islands, and Lord Alan Valerian received the nickname Oakenfist after achieving a great naval victory in the Stepstones. During the War of the Nine Penny Kings, the Band of Nine conquered the Stepstones. A battle was fought here in which Maelys the First Blackfyre was killed, ending the Blackfyre pretenders' threat. The conquest of the islands was a scheme of King Jaehaerys II Targaryen, which amounted to nothing. The Stepstones and Basilisk Isles have often been raided by ironborn reavers and sell sails from the Iron Islands, such as Harwin Hoare and Dalton Greyjoy. When he was 15, Balon Greyjoy spent a summer reaving in the Stepstones with Dagmar Cleftjaw. killing his first men and taking his first two salt wives in the islands. Asha Greyjoy was away from fighting with semi-pirates in the Stepstones when Balon, Lord Reaper of Pike, exiled Euron Greyjoy from the Iron Islands. So, back at the tournament, in honor of Viserys I Targaryen, the tourney also saw the return to court of Prince Daemon, who reconciled with Viserys, offering him the crown he claimed while fighting for the Stepstones. But 6 months later, Daemon was exiled again from King's Landing, while Grand Maester Runtsider claimed the two brothers simply quarreled. It was rumored that Daemon took Rhaenyra's virginity and that Lionel Strong counseled the livid king, Viserys, that Daemon should be executed for treason. Septon Eustace reminded the council about the taint of kinslaying, thus Daemon was exiled instead. Viserys hated conflict and made repeated attempts to cease the hostilities between the Greens and the Blacks, with many fights and false apologies issued on both sides. He loved his wife and daughter equally. They only loved each other when he commanded. So long as Viserys ruled, peace prevailed in the Seven Kingdoms. As the tournament continued, the tourney for King Viserys I Ascension. Again, the tourney for King Viserys I Ascension was held at Maidenpool in 104 AC in honor of King Viserys I Targaryen, who had recently succeeded King Jaehaerys I Targaryen. In history, the 22-year-old Kristen Cole defeated Prince Daemon Targaryen, the brother of Viserys, in the melee by knocking aside Darksister with his Morning Star. He then gave the victor's laurel to the 7-year-old Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen and asked her to wear her favor in the lists. Kristen subsequently became a favorite at court and joined the king's guard. As a note, the tourney is now coming to an end, the final round of those who will be titled victors. In the evening, Sir Criston Cole won the meeting. His final opponent was Prince Daemon Targaryen. The Joust. Sir Criston Cole defeated Prince Daemon Targaryen. Sir Criston Cole defeated Sir Eric Carlisle. Sir Criston Cole defeated Sir Eric Carlisle. Lord Lyman Mallister defeated Sir Criston Cole. As the tournament finally ended, in 113 AC, Viserys decided it was time for his daughter Rhaenyra to wed. Queen Alicent wanted the princess to wed her eldest son, Aegon, so he could one day be king. Viserys would not hear of it, as Aegon was 10 years Rhaenyra's junior, and the two had never gotten on well. The king and council chose Rhaenyra Velaryon to wed, a reluctant Rhaenyra to engage the friendship between the Iron Throne and Driftmark. In 114 AC, Rhaenyra and Sir Rhaenyra were wed, though it is questioned if the marriage was consummated. Rhaenyra spent most of his time on Driftmark and infrequently visited Rhaenyra on Dragonstone. Later the same year, Rhaenyra gave birth to her first son, Jaehaerys Targaryen. However, rumors spread that the child's real father was Lionel's son, Sir Harwin Strong, Rhaenyra's sworn shield, who resided with her on Dragonstone. Queen Alicent bore a third son, Daeron, the same year. Viserys had Jaehaerys and Daeron share a wet nurse till weaned, hoping to prevent enmity by raising them as Muslim brothers. Rhaenyra gave her father two more grandsons years later, Viserys Targaryen, born in 115 AC, and Jaehaerys Targaryen in 117 AC. Instead of traditional Targaryen features, the three Targaryen lads had pug noses, brown hair, and brown eyes. Rumors spread that the children's real father was Lionel's son, Sir Harwin Strong, Rhaenyra's sworn shield, who resided with her on Dragonstone. Prince Daemon and his wife, Laena Targaryen, had twin daughters named Baela and Rhaena. The brothers Daemon and Viserys reconciled a second time, and with the blessing of the king, Princess Rhaenyra betrothed Jaehaerys and Viserys to Baela and Rhaena. This did not change Daemon's ways as the king had hoped, however. And now the prelude to civil war. Later reign. The year 120 AC became known as the year of the Red Spring because of its many deaths and accidents. Rhaenyra Valerian, the wife of Prince Daemon Targaryen, died after a failed birth. At her funeral, a quarrel broke out between Aemon Targaryen and the sons of Rhaenyra, who were accused of being bastards from House Thorne. Aemon lost an eye when Viserys defended Jaehaerys with a knife. The false apologies from the families of Rhaenyra and Alicent fooled no one but Viserys. The king issued an edict that anyone spreading the strong rumor would lose their tongue, and ordered Sir Harwin Strong to depart from Dragonstone to Harrenhal. A fire at Harrenhal then killed Harwin and his father Lionel, the hand of the king. While some blamed the fire on the curse of Harrenhal, others whispered that Daemon, Lord Corlys Valerian, Harwin's younger brother, Larys Strong, and even Viserys were to blame. The king recalled Sir Otto Hightower as the king's hand. The year saw the death of Rhaenyra's husband, Rhaenyra Valerian, killed in a fight between his companion and rumored lover, Sir Carl Corey. Rhaenyra and Daemon shocked the realm by wedding without Viserys' knowledge. A huge scandal, as neither Rhaenyra nor Lenore had been dead for 6 months. The year ended with Rhaenyra and Daemon welcoming the birth of their first son, Prince Aegon the Younger. Another son, born in 122 AC, was given the name Viserys after Rhaenyra's father. The forced closeness of Rhaenyra and Alicent's children increased animosity between the Blacks and the Greens. The royal children and grandchildren became dragon riders and court visitors that served the dragons of one faction, snapping and spitting flames at the dragons of the other party. In 127 AC, Rhaenyra argued her second oldest, Viserys, should inherit Driftmark. Several Valerians unsuccessfully protested to the Iron Throne that her sons were bastards, fathered by Harwin Strong, and had no claim to Driftmark. King Viserys heard them in stony silence, and after issuing the order to remove their tongues, slipped and cut his hand to the bone on the Iron Throne. He suffered a fever from an infection and only recovered after 2 of his fingers were removed by Maester Jaehaerys. He never sat on the throne again. Viserys died on the 3rd day of 3rd moon of 129 AC during a nap in the Red Keep of King's Landing. Viserys had decreed his heir to be Rhaenyra, the daughter from his first wife, Aemon Arryn. Aegon the Elder, the oldest son of his second wife, Alicent, was instead crowned Aegon II by Sir Criston Cole, the Lord Commander of the King's Guard. This led to a civil war between Rhaenyra and Aegon II, best known as the Dance of the Dragons. In conclusion of the reign of Viserys I Targaryen, it had been noted that he reigned for 25 years, which is a little less than half of his grandfather, Jaehaerys I Targaryen, who in his reign, after Balon Targaryen had passed on for a short time after a short reign, that through the Great Council of 101 AC, that Viserys I Targaryen was to be appointed, though his grandchild, to the Iron Throne of Swords for the realm of the kingdoms. Those who remember Viserys I Targaryen the best have the following quotes about Viserys I. Viserys I Targaryen had a generous, amiable nature, and was well loved by his lords and small folk alike. The reign of the young king, as the commons called him upon his ascent, would be peaceful and prosperous. Writings of Gildane. Viserys I Targaryen was not the strongest-willed of kings, it must be said. Always amiable and anxious to please, he relied greatly on the counsel of the men around him, and did as they bid more often than not. Writings of Gildane. He had ruled for 26 years, reigning over the most prosperous era in the history of the Seven Kingdoms, but seeding within it the disastrous decline of his house and the death of the last dragons. Writings of Yandel. Viserys I Targaryen did have a small council under his reign. During the reign of King Viserys, his small council had the following known members: Hand of the King, Grand Maester, Master of Coin, Master of Laws, Master of Ships, Master of Whisperers, Lord Commander of the King's Guard. And so, as we jump ahead a little bit, and we reflect on the time of Daenerys Stormborn of the House Targaryen having a conversation regarding dragons, and as much as conversations carried in King's Landing, this would explain why dragons had not been around for the longest time, because of the dragon wars known as Dance of the Dragons. As William finished reading the very lengthy scroll about Viserys I Targaryen, he looks up at Daenerys, who is watching him. Well, any thoughts on this scroll, William? Well, I guess either 25 or 26 years is still a pretty good long lineage of reign for Viserys I. I guess he was, as they would say in my world, a roly-poly guy. roly-poly. She kind of looks at him kind of strangely, and William's trying not to laugh about this comment he just made. Well, I suppose there's nothing wrong with that, just as there's nothing wrong with someone from the House Lannister being shorter than the average person. He seemed to have a very charismatic attitude about him. It's a shame that other children would have a squabble who had full rightful reign over the right to be an heir to the Iron Throne for the realm of kingdoms. That would probably also explain why dragons practically became extinct, other than the 3 eggs that were found long before I came into your world, when you were with your first husband, Khal Drogo. Yes, they were wedding gifts. And, well, as you already know, as I had already told you, when a sorceress had lied to me that she could heal him, I wanted to go with him to the spirit world, and of course I survived, and the eggs hatched. Well, you know the rest of the story, William. Yes. So, now you have 3 dragons again. Yes, because I was brought back from the symbolical abyss by the society known as Fire and Blood. And though I do not look the same, though you would not have seen me at an earlier time when I held a throne for at least about 3 days, or prior to that, I am quite capable now to be queen of the realm of the kingdoms. Well, I do believe in this, and I do believe in you. Well, thank you, William. You know, it is getting late, but we should go to the dining hall, get something to eat, and relax. And then tomorrow we will resume your studies of the House of Targaryen. All right. So they depart the library and go into the dining hall. Tyrion just happens to be sitting at the table. Well, about time you guys showed up. Where you been keeping yourselves? She takes her seat. Well, William's been learning about the genealogical records and history of the House of Targaryen. So, you learn anything, William? Well, I know dragons were quite plentiful at the time, and it would seem that I kind of got an idea as to how most of the dragons became extinct because of a sibling rivalry as to who should have had the Iron Throne of Swords for the realm of the kingdom. Yes, well, hadn't had dragons for the longest time until, well, before you showed up in our world, most unexpectedly. She had made her first attempt to have the throne after the Great White Walker Wars, and her and Jon Snow, her nephew, got together. Now she has 3 dragons again, thanks to whoever it was that rescued her. And, of course, this would be after the birth of Jaehaerys. Excuse me. You're alright, Tyrion? Yes, I forgot her name. The daughter of Daenerys and Jon Snow. Well, I guess it's getting late, so Daenerys has kind of told me that we will resume our studies after we have dinner tomorrow. Well, good. So let us eat, drink, and be merry, and a toast to your learning much of the House of Targaryen. So with that, William and Tyrion clunk their glasses together and have a drink, and then they talk about many things as they have their dinner for the evening. When finished, they then turn in for the evening into the chambers of Daenerys, where she gently, after asking William to perhaps, because she is the child and she is beginning to show, that perhaps if William didn't mind, she would prefer to be held because she is starting to show. I do agree with this, Daenerys. You are showing really good. Well, William, um, I am starting to get big. Well, she might be a big, healthy girl like you, William. So they kiss sweetly and kind of play with each other playfully. But then she, carefully not to cause injury to the unborn child, lays somewhat comfortably on one side. William holds her, and then they go to sleep. And thus ends the first day of Targaryen Genealogy 101's history for the day.